Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Hi guys. RS
Paul,
Paul
do an
here.
intro.
You go fuck yourself. Hi, you sexy animals. RS Paul here again, and her. Today we've got something special for you.
Like that these days.
Today we've got something
Not
really
the kids, are
interesting. Today we've got. I'm going to zip your mouth shut with the back of my hand. Today we've got something really interesting for you. It's the Hyperdrive guys, Tony and Parminder.
The Hyperdrive guys.
Finally here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Made the trip.
We did.
Made the trip
Long
up.
trip. Long trip for Tony. Slightly less long for me.
6 hours.
6
But
hours.
yeah. Good to see you guys.
Did you-
Really good. Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you get stuck on the ring road?
We got stuck here a little bit, but mostly it was okay.
Ah, good.
Yeah, it's Manchester traffic's rubbish, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely sucks. So it's nice to have you in our lair
Thank you.
and give you a look round the studio. So obviously there's a lot of people that will be watching that have not made a visit. Oh, that reminds me.
Oh, you didn't get it, did
Oh! Was that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
you? You missed out on one.
Oh,
That's
thank
all good.
you. King
You
of
are-
Troopers.
Yeah, you have to meet one of us in person. Or I do think Paul's mum's got a big supply of them as well.
Yeah, I believe you.
That's where I got that one from.
Thank you very much.
I believe
I
all,
only got one,
I
so.
believe all you guys have been cashing them in at my mum's. Then I bring them back here, then he hands them out, then you cash them in, and so
I
on.
going to tell him about that.
Yeah, don't sniff it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But no, it's cool for you to come up. So a lot of guys will be watching that haven't visited. So I guess do you want to give us some feedback on what you've seen?
It's just, well,
Probably don't mention any of your top secret projects though.
can I mention the Bausch?
Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Whoever's on the run on this helmet is going to be blown away. I mean, I've seen pictures of it, and then actually handling the prototype and then seeing what Becca's done on the final run. It's just, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's about
blown away. Really am.
6 or 7 months of her life,
Yeah,
that, isn't
yeah,
it?
definitely.
Incredible paint job, really is.
Sat across all them shelves.
So yeah, and then just seeing all the volume of work you guys are doing. You know, the sort of TKs, the tie helmets. You just got it, all the busts. Yeah, I see it. I've watched it so many times on, when you guys do a podcast. But actually seeing all the props and stuff up close, yeah, it's just, it's a real thrill to see it. So
It's cool. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good for us, isn't it? Because it reminds us of how lucky we are, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But it's always great to meet you guys and all the other guys that come in, because you big us up. We thrive
We try
off it.
to.
Well, you do, don't you? You need it.
I need it, yeah.
it's difficult because we're massive RS fans
Real
anyway.
ego that you need.
Yeah, true.
Very bolstering
Yeah.
all the time. But no, it's nice because it gets a bit. We get used to it, don't we? We get used
yeah.
to seeing it all the time. So
Sure.
when you guys come in and you're like, "Oh, look at this," and then you're like, "Oh yeah."
It is.
I almost forgot about that.
But
Like the Cylons that
oh, that.
forgot about that.
That's very special.
Can we mention that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rob has got
We've got
the original mould from the Cylon helmet.
We've got a picture here of Paul wearing that full Cylon. You can
Yeah.
Clark, you can edit that in later on.
Yeah. That
Looking
was
very trim. Looking very trim in that.
Ah, well,
That's where I'm chasing Rob for the next week for this picture.
I've got it, pal. I have it.
Paul's got it.
Well, I hijack that for a second. Pamela, can I just move your mic slightly?
Yeah.
It's just completely in the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Plus you'll be leaning that way. To
Okay, yeah.
You'll be able to.
He's not joking.
But no, you're right. It's a visual feast coming here because, seeing so much of your work, which we're used to because we have some of your helmets in our collections, but seeing everything together, all in one place, seeing it all come together, seeing stuff we haven't seen before as well. Yes, it's a lot of fun.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
There's always stuff that's for way down the road that may look more finished than
Sure.
than it is.
And yeah, there is some stuff coming down the road which I will not say at all, but super excited. I can't. Yeah.
There's some stuff we've kind of put right to the side and forgot about, and you've seen it today.
Yeah,
and we're just
yeah.
like, oh. And it's,
You have to show it to
it's
me, though.
really, really important stuff. But it's just like, because we shelved it for now. You're just like, look at that.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, yeah.
What's also really good, and something that probably people don't appreciate, is the amount of effort you guys are taking to find all the found parts for the Bausch, for example. Seeing at what stage they're at and making sure that it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And that's again, I think we don't see a lot of that. So seeing that firsthand today, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a spot on paint job. It's an absolute brilliant paint job. But the work it takes to get it to that paint job is unbelievable.
Sure.
Oh, thanks.
So,
mate. Thank you.
well, now I've got involved. Yeah, I'll have to say something like that, don't I?
But also seeing you guys,
Yeah.
we saw you guys at Celebration. We had a lot of fun there.
Well, we missed Tony.
Well,
Yeah,
you missed
yeah.
Tony. Yeah,
Ships in the night.
I know.
You
I
might
know.
have missed him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Tony won't
just
forget
caught.
that.
Just caught.
Yeah,
you.
you did.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did.
Oh,
you
well,
did.
you get about though, don't
He was on the
to be
hop,
fair.
wasn't he?
I was.
Yeah.
Well, I was there for a day.
It was so nice for your mum to come down for the day as well, though. It really was. But yeah, it's a shame you only made it for the day, wasn't
No,
it?
but it was a
Day
great
was-
experience.
The day was enough for going in celebration though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean,
The main event was meeting everybody. I think.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it, but hearing about the other ones, it was a bit of a shame. But meeting everybody, just bumping into you, just on the street, for example.
Yeah.
Just
Randomly.
Yeah, just randomly. Yeah.
People
You
you
doing
know.
it? Yeah, it was.
An RS night as
So it
well.
was great.
What was the Connaught? Was it? Is that right?
Connaught.
Connaught.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the Fox Connaught.
Fox Connaught, yeah.
Tongue
Yeah.
twister. That was fun, and we got to see the Bash firsthand at that point, and it's very exciting to see where it's at now.
Yeah, but it's nice to see you again as well, Parminder.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming up to the new place.
Yes, I saw the old place.
I know you. Yeah, remember you visiting? Was it a couple of times as well?
No, it was just once.
Once?
Yeah. I think I saw you also at MCM Birmingham. That's probably the other time I saw you.
yes. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
That was, I think, the time where you had Alan Flying do the.
That's right,
yeah.
with this
Oh,
with the
God.
snowy
Yeah,
helmets.
absolutely. Yeah.
So there
That's
was like
right.
about 30 snowy helmets all lined
Yes,
up.
all lined up on the floor. One of them's mine, but yeah, that was fun. That was the first time I think I saw you guys and Simon, and then came up again for an open day. It's always a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, open day. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the Hyperdrive then.
Okay.
So this is obviously your club.
Yes, a group that we're very proud of to be a part of. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the thing with the SW?
Disney.
What's that all about? Is that because they're getting a lot of hate, do you think?
I think Disney or Facebook, or a combination of both, were clamping down on groups that actually had Star Wars in their Facebook names.
Yeah.
So
You probably don't have that problem on X, I'm guessing.
probably not. They don't care.
Yeah, I don't think Elon cares too much, does
I
he?
don't think he does. No. You've seen the car he's making.
Yeah, did you not see the comments that he was sending directly to Bob Iger?
Oh no.
Did you not? All right, because he's Disney have removed their advertising from X,
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
and yeah, Elon's response was quite interesting.
Have to Google it.
Yeah,
Was that when he said, go fuck yourself? Yeah.
and then he said, and just to be clear, go fuck yourself. And then
I like it.
And then I think he said hi, Bob, in the audience. So
I think all the groups
Yeah.
just changed it overnight. I think
lot
one.
of
I
them
think
went,
one.
yeah.
I think one. I think it was a vintage group did it, and then everyone just said, "Oh, we better just change it to SW." But
interesting. So it's
Yeah.
Hyperdrive.
A Star Wars group. A bit like Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I think that's probably where it was influenced from.
I
we
like
just called it the Drive.
The Drive.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Drive. We've
So-
had a drive today.
The Drive
I
is.
have. I have.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm a passenger. I mean, the Drive is obviously Christian's baby.
Yeah, who was due to be here?
He was
today.
due to be here with Roger, and so we're missing him. Yeah.
Yeah. Christian was coming with who?
Claudius.
Yeah, it's a shame. Shame they couldn't manage.
Yeah. Yeah, it was last minute
to make
unfortunately.
it. But I think you've.
We made up for it.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully. Oh, good.
we had
Made up
we
for it.
yeah we just we had a gap in our diaries and we just didn't want to cancel. We were straight here. So
We've already
Excellent.
agreed it with our respective wives. We could have a day off.
she thinks I've popped down to the shops,
Yeah, that's
which is a
Yeah.
9-hour round trip, but
Yeah.
more than worth it. More than worth it.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, Christian, hope you get well soon.
Yeah,
And we'll
Yeah,
see,
get well
we'll
soon,
see you
mate.
soon, pal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Hyperdrive was set up about 3 years ago, I think. Now?
Yeah,
2 to
yeah,
3 years ago. It originally originated from a Facebook group that Christian had created to showcase his collection.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was called the Hive, I think. or some-
Collectibles Hive.
Yeah,
Collectibles Hive.
But it was predominantly his page to just share his collection, and then he wanted to expand that out, have a group which was predominantly about sharing collections. But he also had this vision of offering exclusives, so offering back to the community and creating some opportunities where, as a group, we could work with prop makers and offer, over a course of time, exclusives that group members could purchase and display in their collections. Something that we would want to have in our collections, that hopefully somebody else would want to have in their collection. And that way, you'd promote both the prop maker, but also a backstory to that particular prop. And that's been one of the, I think, differentiators, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
as for the Hyperdrive, has been that kind of constant flow of exclusives, be they signature plaques or be it helmets like the ones that we've done with RS.
Oh, there's some great stuff. I like to.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff. There's some stuff that are now grails, I think, really difficult to get hold of. They sell for a lot more than they did when first launched. So, and that's really down to Christian. I think, the amount of work that Christian's gone to get those props out to the group members is really commendable. I mean, Tony and I provide some support, moral support, but we
Moral
don't
support,
really
yeah,
do
yeah.
much else. It really is down to Christian. So yeah, it's a shame he can't be there to get a big pat on the back for the stuff he does.
He's done. I mean, I've been a sort of lifelong Star Wars fan for sort of like 40 years, and I've been collecting for a few years as well. Been part of some of the Facebook groups, but being a part of the Hyperdrive is sort of really. It's been quite life changing, really, in terms of just being a Star Wars fan. Just the things that I collect, the way I collect, but the friendships I've made, and I can't thank Christian enough, really. And I remember when I first joined, there was like 40 or 50 members. He just opened it up, and I just remember it being really interactive because it was during the lockdown. So most of the members so they were his friends, so mainly from Germany, few from the UK, but we're all in the same time zone. So we'd post something, and then Parminder would message me almost instantly, and then Christian would message me instantly. So there was like, you were interacting in real time. And that was like a trial run for what the Hyperdrive has become. It's become really interactive. So there's always an admin on the group. And, if anyone posts anything, we want to encourage people to post their collections, but just have fun. And it's just been, I wouldn't be sat here. I mean, if you'd said to me, because I'm a big RS fan for many years, and if you'd said to me,
Appreciate that, Tom. Thank you.
If somebody said to me, "Oh, you're going to be sat talking to Rob and Paulie on a podcast."
We're fanboys, aren't we?
It's difficult not to fanboy, but if it wasn't for the Hyperdrive, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Yeah.
It's a wonderful group, and the community as well really is.
Yeah, Facebook's really started working on bringing people together in that way, because there's always been a community around this, but I think it just makes it that more accessible. You just jump, because you would go on the dedicated forums or RPF or something, and you would have to make an effort to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Or not. Well, I think make an effort's the wrong way of putting it, but you would have to purposely
Go onto
set
the
some
forum.
time, sit down and
Go
go on
through all
there
the
and have a
threads.
look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with Hyperdrive, it's just there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pipe straight into your eyeballs through your phone.
Basically.
the minute you put
Seeing all these awesome
the
collections.
minute you have a look at it, and that's it, and that's what you.
Well, you get.
That's what I want to look at, how people are displaying
Exactly,
stuff
yeah.
and what they've got. And some of the stuff is not for me, but it looks amazing.
You can appreciate it.
And then
Yeah,
other stuff I'm like really jealous at, and I want
Well,
it.
then how can-
And then other stuff you're like, I never really liked that, but look how well that is displayed, and now I want it.
It's amazing, isn't it? You get. I mean, I've got similar pieces to Parminder, but I picked him up this morning, went into his collection room because he's got different lighting and he's just displayed them differently. It's like the hot toys we were talking about. They look like completely different. It's like, hang on, I've got that in my collection. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as how he's got it displayed. And you see pieces in people's collections thinking, yeah, I've got that, but it's just the way they've got it like lit or displayed.
Yeah, but having said that, I think you go in someone's collection and you're like, this looks so good. And then when you talk to that person, they're like, I'm not quite happy about this. And I'm
That's what I said this morning.
And you're
isn't it?
like, no, it looks amazing. Don't change anything.
Yeah.
But- so I don't think you're ever quite happy,
No.
are you, with any setup or any display? You're always looking for.
I don't think anybody
A different way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it has just become a really great source of sort of inspiration for people, and a catalogue of people's collections that you can just look into. And the collectors themselves are fantastic. I think I've mentioned it before. You can PM them. Some of the guys that are on the group that have supported it have been collecting for like decades. So it's very easy to look at these collections and think, oh, I've got to catch up. But they've been collecting for so many years. And the thing is, you've just got to be careful when you dive in that you just don't go too crazy at the start.
Yeah, but you don't realise you've been collecting for years, and then all of a sudden you're like,
You start counting the years.
wow, I bought that 15 years ago.
Absolutely. And that is what the group's about.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's about
Yeah.
sharing collections. It's about
Yeah.
influencing and bringing these great exclusives to the community. And we're lucky we have a lot of great members who all interact. It's not just the odd few, and we try and encourage that as best we can. So far it's been great. Yeah.
No, it is. It is good, and there's always someone on there with a similar kind of vibe that you want to collect, and maybe a similar kind of space as well. Because that's the other problem, isn't it?
That's
Some
right.
people have got huge display rooms, and then some people have got small display rooms. But then you start looking at them, and you start taking inspiration. I'm taking inspiration from Tony's now because mine's a small.
I think a lot of people are.
Mine's a small space. But
Well, you got pool table in yours. What are you talking about? You got pool
That's
table
kind
in
of the
there.
reason why it's such a small space, because that takes up so much of it.
It is really. I think in the UK particularly, we do struggle with space, and it's. I think when we were on a live stream a few weeks ago, Rob, we were talking about collections, and I've been running out of room for years. But it's
You find a way, don't you?
you find a way of trying to squeeze a piece in, or you have to sort of I set you up for that.
His mum does, yeah.
But and you have to. I mean, I've got into a situation now where I've just got to recycle my collection. But you get to a point where you're looking at things and you just don't want to sell them. I looked at. We had
Are you tempted to put anything away and revisit it later?
that. I have. There was. I had the Iron Studios Mandalorian statue, and I've boxed it away, and I'm just seeing if I just sort of miss it.
If you miss it.
And if I don't miss it, it's going. But I loved it when
Are
it was on display.
you going to get it out again before it goes, though? Because you might not miss it.
Yeah.
Because it's not there, but then when you get it out, you might be like,
Maybe not.
No, I don't want the temptation. The thing is with statues, they just take up so much real estate. I mean, I'm looking at. I don't know if the camera can see this Wampa you guys have got here. Is just
yeah, he's a big boy.
it's incredible.
Literally.
It's the size of it.
I think he was.
That's pool table size.
Yeah.
What
Probably weighs more than a
What
pool
size was he?
That is quarter
Was it
scale.
quarter scale?
That's
Yeah.
quarter scale.
That was that the big one?
That was
Yeah.
There's also one we've been pulling a tauntaun along.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's the one you ordered when you were. Was it?
No,
you had a few.
Yeah,
too
well,
many?
yeah, the statue. Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't into the blood.
The bloody one.
No.
I like blood
Yeah.
when it's in me, and I like blood in movies, but not necessarily Star
Not on
Wars.
a Star Wars,
I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need for the blood in Star Wars.
Agreed.
I
Yeah.
don't know why.
But it's also amazing seeing sort of collections in real life, because I've only seen it. I've seen Parminders and I've seen a couple of others, but they never look the same until you actually view them in real time. It's like the props that we're looking at today.
Yeah, photos don't
No.
tend.
Wash out a lot
Yeah.
of detail, don't they?
Yeah, they don't tend to help that much, and they just make you really jealous, don't they? When you look at them, you're like,
That's FOMO and collecting are two different, difficult things to reconcile. And I'm trying to get to a point where I'm a bit more content with my collection. But as a collector, are you ever content?
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Conundrum. The conundrum of a collector.
the collecting is the thing, though, isn't it?
Yes. It's the chase.
It's adding
getting that
something
piece
to
in.
it.
It's the anticipation, isn't it? When you pre-order something and then the wait for it to come in, and physically have it in your hands, and then you've in your mind you've thought about where to put put it in your collection.
I mean,
But,
for me, it all started. I've said it many times. For me, it was always the connection with the Palatoy figures as a kid, and we were chatting about it on the way up to your place today, and it was the gap between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which was like 3 years, and I was like 8 or 9 years old then, and all I had was the figures. If you were rich, you had a VHS player, and
I don't know. Were they even?
Were they out then? Because
the VHS players were the films weren't unless you had a pirate.
you couldn't. I remember you just couldn't get a
watch
copy
the
of the
movies, could
film
you?
because everybody had got it out.
And then Star Wars was on TV.
Yeah.
in '84, I think.
I don't think we had a video to record it when that first came out.
So you were just sort of playing with the figures, and you were just sort of, that is the massive connection between me collecting and the link back to my childhood. And I've sort of gone full circle with it now, because I think you've done the same, Rob, where we've gone back and we're doing a loose run. Because you've got yours in the nice train track display case.
I've tried collecting the loose figures before. I had the whole collection. I think I might have done it a couple of times, but I was never happy with the way it displayed.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started kind of going down the carded route, and then I was like, that's
a rabbit hole.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, that worked out okay, because I think that was at the beginning of lockdown, and I think a lot of people panicked and they were selling really nice stuff really cheap.
Yeah.
So I was like, so then I was thinking, maybe this is doable anyway. It's not doable. Not to start now. You need to have started. It was never that cheap, though. I mean, carded.
Yeah.
I remember buying 17 years ago, because I think Connor had just been born. I bought a graded Imperial Gunner. I think it was like probably an 80, something like that.
Yeah.
AFA 80, graded, carded Gunner. And I think it was about 55 quid, something like that.
Jeez.
Which is a lot back in the day.
It was expensive then.
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
time. At the time, people were saying to me, "You paid 50 quid for it."
Because we remember when
Are
those
you-
figures
are you-
were bargain basement,
Are you ri-
99p
that's
in
ridiculous.
Woolworths.
Yeah.
So trying to kind of equate how they've got to that level, and now where they are is even worse.
I bet he's not sold it. He's just lost it or something. Chances of that.
It's
Somewhere in here.
It is sort of like you see these carded ones with the price still on it, and it's got
Yeah,
it's got
£1.59.
£1.50, and they're going for 700 quid.
Jesus.
And it's like, oh,
That's tough, and I think you've got to get over that if you want to collect carded figures, because that's a real mental block. I think trying to pick something up when you were there, back in the day when they were that cheap.
Yeah.
So collecting loose is a little bit more achievable. I think once you start hitting last 17, then it starts to get a bit expensive.
I've proper cheated on that.
Yeah, don't
what have you reproed it?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're great.
I've got to a point now where I'm really struggling, because I'm down to I think it's like 9 or 10, and every time one comes up, I keep missing it, because everybody's going for the same. And it's the layers.
See, I've relaxed now, because when I was originally collecting all the loose figures first time around, it was like, I've got to have I've got to have the correct lightsabers, the correct blasters and everything. And I can't have any repro, and the repro's bad, and didn't want any of it. But the repro then, like 17, 18, 20 years ago, was shite. It was bad, it was...
Yeah.
I didn't have any connection to it. The repro stuff now, I can't tell the difference.
I was going to say, can you tell the difference?
Even,
it's
not
difficult.
even, and we're not even on blasters and stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're on figures.
Yeah.
And you can tell the difference because they make they make it obvious.
Yeah,
so that you know, because it's not a forgery. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I remember years and years ago, there were no Cape Jawas, vinyl Cape Jawas.
Yeah.
They didn't exist. Now you see them all the time. I'm like,
There's got to be something.
where are they coming from? Where are they coming from?
That's a conspiracy theory, isn't it? But,
And then there's the experts that are grading the things, and then Toy Tony comes along, and just basically pissed all over that idea. So now I'm a lot more relaxed about repro stuff, and now I've managed to get past all of that.
And you just...
People I hate hearing this stuff. They'll be out there like,
I can hear the comments going down.
No.
I can hear the comments.
But no, I've just got past it, and I'm just like with everything that I collect now, I just buy what I like.
Yeah.
I think the problem with repro is, and I think this is where it gets difficult, is when if it ends up in the secondary market and people buy it not knowing it's repro and they pay full price for it, and I think that's where it causes problems.
But research, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but
everything's research.
This is true.
And when it's stamped on the back with Stan Solo or something, you're like...
I think the figures for sure, but I think when it comes to the accessories, it becomes a little bit more. You need almost need a magnifying glass.
I've given up on that. I've given up on that.
I mean,
because back in the day, you put them in a glass of water and you'd be like, oh no.
But that doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
if they're that good, I struggle with it. Because the whole thing is that connection with the childhood and just going back to that, and especially with the loose, you can move their arms and legs, and you can make the sounds as well if you want to do, and when you're moving them around in the thing, you can imagine stuff.
Yeah.
But the repro works for me for that.
Sure.
So I'm just like.
I think
If I knew everything was 100% not repro, but I don't even believe the experts.
Yeah.
No, it is difficult. I mean, they're like selling the R2 pop-up lightsaber, that little green plastic. It is just a green piece of plastic. I mean, they're going for hundreds just for that, and I know I'm going to get to that point at some point where I'm going to need that. And that's
where I am. I only have two more
just use a cocktail stick.
And one of them is the pop-up R2, and it's very, very difficult to pull the trigger when somebody's trying to sell that for £500. But knowing what it is,
it is just that it is that emotional connection going back to, those toys as a kid. And I think that's what drives probably a lot of collectors our age. I mean, it'd be interesting to see because we've got guys on our admin team that are a generation down from below us. We're old, like you guys, old school OT, and then we've got, sort of guys that are really into the prequels.
With the prequels, yeah.
And it's what drives them. Is it the toys? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That was another discussion that was happening regarding the value of those toys as the likes of us kind of, are phased out. Will people still want to buy vintage Star Wars figures at the prices that they're commanding now? So it's kind of interesting to see what will happen.
That's the same with everything, isn't it? But I mean, that tends to be the same with classic cars and Elvis memorabilia and Beatles memorabilia. Stuff that sells for ridiculous money. Yeah. From the Beatles, it's not always going to do that.
No,
because no one's going to care about
them. Yeah, that's right.
But One Direction memorabilia. That'll be through the roof then. Start buying it.
You're buying it up, are you?
Well, I am. Not for me though. For my kids. But I am enjoying it in the meantime, obviously. But yeah, it's just cycles of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the thing you've got to be aware of.
And that's a weird thing. So like, I was thinking, the bubble's going to burst on the Star Wars figure. It never has.
No.
It's still going strong.
But I think there's still a lot of collectors our age that are, who are kids around that age. But I think give it 20 years, perhaps that may not be the case.
Well, that's definitely won't be the case. I won't be here in 20 years, that's for sure.
Don't say that.
No chance.
Well, we've got a Deadpool sweep in there. We reckon it's going to be at least 10.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll take that. You never know. You might fall under a bus. So, is there a point where you realised you were a collector?
With Star Wars, I think, for me at least, I can put it into 3 different phases. The first phase is the toys. If on the back of the vintage card backs, which we call them vintage card backs now, but they were card backs then, it says collect all 77. However many more there were.
92.
And so
96.
Yeah, 96,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
yeah.
So really, from an early age, seeing those card backs, there was a desire to collect as many as possible. Now, back in those days, couldn't afford everything, so
I didn't really want the girls.
So you wanted to collect as many as you could, and I looked after my figures. I still have them today. So what I have displayed in my collection room at the moment, the majority of them are my childhood figures. So I would say phase 1 for me as a collector was really kind of getting those toys. I wasn't buying them; my parents were buying them for me, but looking after them, preserving them. I had no idea that many years in the future that I would want to display them, but they meant a lot to me. In the 90s, obviously we had that period between 85 and 1991-ish where Star Wars had pretty much died, and a lot of us had moved on, thinking that was it. We wouldn't see any more Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. We discovered girls.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
BMX.
BMX for sure.
Yeah.
18. Baywatch. And we suddenly had this resurrection of Star Wars through multimedia, with Timothy Zahn's novels, Heir to the Empire, and so on and so forth, and the video games.
Reading books.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
And comics, Dark Horse.
I was still riding bikes.
Oh, were you?
I think so.
Okay. So that period for me was more about consuming what was coming out from a multimedia perspective, so the video games, the PC games. Actually, I did, at that time, buy a couple of helmets. So this is probably early 90s. If you remember when there was the Star Wars fan club, the Lucasfilm fan club magazine, there would be a pull-out called Bantha Tracks. And in that, you would see, for sale, Don Post Star Wars Stormtrooper and Darth Vader helmets. Very rudimentary, vinyl kind of, very basic. But back in the day, that's all that really existed. So I remember, I was quite young then. I remember asking my dad if I could borrow his credit card and phone the hotline to the USA. First time I'd ever spoken to anybody from the USA, and ordered, with his money, a Stormtrooper helmet and a Darth Vader helmet. And spoke to this lovely lady at Lucasfilm, ordered them, waited. I must have felt like months before they arrived. And for the first time ever, I had a helmet and a Stormtrooper helmet and a Vader helmet to display. So alongside my video games that I was playing on my PC, like X-Wing and so on and so forth, I had a little shelf with a Stormtrooper and a Darth Vader helmet, which look awful today, but back in the day they were pretty impressive, at least for me. So that was phase 2 for me. And then phase 3 really kind of came to fruition in the 2000s, when started to see stuff from Sideshow and Master Replicas, really kind of what I would say were high-end collectibles, replicas of props or studio scale ships, or statues of our favourite collectors in such detail that had never been seen before. And I think that's really kind of now where I've kind of carried on and gone from statues to hot toys to props and realised that I have a habit that or an addiction that requires me to or have a desire to display them.
So have you ever collected anything other than Star Wars stuff, like spoons or fridge magnets?
No. And it's strange that, isn't it? No.
Anything else?
No, not really. I mean, I think in 1986 I collected the stickers for Mexico '86. That was about it.
Less said about that tournament, the better.
Oh, yeah. But no, I haven't, and it's really strange. I think Star Wars has this. Really
So it's not a collective like a collective personality kind of thing.
No, not
trait.
really. No, and I think that's what puzzles my
literally just
wife.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's really strange. But we were talking in the car that there's no other franchise like Star Wars where we know not only the cast members but the crew members. So when the end credits come up on Star Wars, you'll be like, oh, I know that name, I know that name, I know that, all the way to the end. I don't think there's any franchise like that. So, we're very lucky through yourself where we get collectibles that honour those background characters. Through signature editions and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's that's really the collecting journey I've had. It's kind of stemmed. It really has stemmed from my childhood, and that link remains to those childhood figures and getting the best replica there is that represents those figures.
Yeah, I think I've had phases. One of the phases was denial.
Oh yeah,
But I was like, no, I'm not a collector.
sure. Just everything's boxed away out of sight.
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s, that was a bit of a weird time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because I don't think there were that many great things to display.
Because I think when you was probably on the phone to America.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love it. How old were you then? Do you think?
I would have been 17 or 18, I think.
Right, you're on the phone to America, and I think I remember probably around that age for me, maybe a bit younger, and I was talking to someone, and they'd be telling me something, and I'd be like, they have conventions for Star Trek fans. Losers! What is that all about? Yeah. Only in America. Yeah. And then skip forward a few years, and I'm like,
we're scrambling to get tickets to go to Star Wars.
Obviously not Star Trek, but Star Wars.
Yeah, things have changed. I didn't really know much about conventions during that period, and even going back, I wish I'd known that Star Wars vintage figures would have gone up in price. I would have collected them in the 90s when they were still available at a reasonable price, while still on their cards. But it's been a journey. Still enjoying it.
Mine's I would say identical, but very, very similar. I've only really collected Star Wars, but the link just goes all the way back to I've just got a memory of seeing Empire Strikes Back with my father in the cinema, and it just blew me away. It just 7, 8 years old, seeing that film, just incredible. It's one of the earliest memories I've got, fondest memories I've got as a child, and then I was just hooked. Couldn't collect all the figures, but Kenner weren't silly. They put all the figures you could collect on the back of the card, and you used it as a checklist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though I didn't check off many of the figures, but you were sort of starting your collecting journey then. And, like Palm said, got into the 90s, we were out partying, girls' clubs, BMXs, but always loved Star Wars, never went away. And I sort of moved house about 15 years ago, and I just put everything I had as a kid in the loft, forgot about it. And then I came across my 1982 Millennium Falcon that my dad had got me, and it just got me hooked back into, was I going to... Then I went on the internet looking at, do I go vintage? And then I saw somebody's collection room, and they had I think it was a Darth Vader sideshow statue in there. And he had all these statues around, and I thought, I quite like the look of that. Who's Sideshow? So I started looking into that, and then bought my first statue. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, I found you guys, because I was looking for Luke Skywalker helmet. And I went on the RPF, as you do, trying to find, I want something as accurate as possible. And somebody said, just check out RS. So went onto your website, and your website was a bit sort of clunky back then, but I thought
I'm not going to say it still is. It's not now.
But I sort of, it was a recommendation. So I went onto the website, and there was a Red 5 X-wing there. So I emailed, and Andrew got back to me within 20 minutes. And I said, do you do an Empire Strikes Back one? She said, well, yeah, we can modify. We can
20
modify.
Minutes. Taking the time, I'll have a bit of words.
So I ordered it. It turned up a few weeks later, and I was just blown away. and that was my first step into sort of what I call sort of higher end prop replicas. And again, getting the HDPE 10th anniversary helmet from you guys, that was a connection back to the Palatoy figure that I had as a kid. And to see, and I think I watched that, the podcast you did with Jez from Star Wars Helmets, and I think you used the term blurred lines, and I think that's where you guys have got to now with, you've pushed the envelope so close to what we've seen on screen, and then what you've shown us today, the hard work you guys put in just reinforces that.
Yeah, but that's the fun part of it, isn't it? Doing all the research and, and checking out and finding out what you can and asking people.
But it's the passion as well that you guys have, isn't it? It's not cut and paste. It's basically going and doing that research and really kind of getting to the nitty gritty and the detail. And just one of the things that Tony mentioned, that's one of the common threads that I found it's certainly in the past 10 years when Facebook communities started to become a thing, and that's where you really started to learn about the likes of yourselves. So if somebody would ask the question, what is the best Stormtrooper helmet to buy? And it would, unanimous, it would be RS Prop Masters, right? And I think my first Stormtrooper helmet that I bought was a Black Series one from Rogue One. Very quickly, when I posted that on Facebook, it was like, that's not the one you want. The one you want is the one that you guys sold. I was like, okay, and it was first time I got one of your helmets. It was no turning back really.
Well, it all depends what you want to collect as well.
Yeah,
there is that. For me, I'm not overly keen of the Black Series stuff, but I see
there's a place for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think they are, for what they are, very, very nice pieces.
I think they're brilliant.
Yeah. But as you say, it's really the level that you want to collect at, that link that you want that collectible to have.
Yeah.
Back to the original kind of asset.
And some people are not.
It doesn't matter to them.
Balls deep into Star Wars, but they want a representation of.
I love the warts and all. I think it was when the Blu-rays and the 4K started to come out, and you just do a bit of research and you look at this, because you have a vision of a kid, of the Stormtrooper, idealised, shiny, and then you look at A New Hope, and there is gaffer tape peeling off the sides of the armour. They're asymmetrical. There's bits falling off the arm.
Shot with them walking past, and it's all
hanging on, but that's what makes them just so wonderful, the films. And you guys are producing replicas like that, which guys like us are just
all flapping open.
Flaps open. But cut that. It's and to get a representation of something as close to the film, I think that's what we're after. Because you go through a journey with collecting as well. Not everybody. There are people that you can collect one thing and then that's it. But for me, it's been a bit of a journey from the figures itself through to sort of statues, hot toys, which I think we still really enjoy. We still really enjoy, and then into the more sort of prop replicas, but things that are as close to what you could touch on screen, or in some cases are moulded off the original helmet. Just to go off.
I prefer that, just because, like you were talking about, the Don Poe stuff. I mean, at the time, that
was all you could get.
That was the best stuff, and then I almost feel like lied to.
Right.
When you see it and you're like, but this is you're looking at it and you're like, this is a Stormtrooper. This is it. And then you find out
it's nothing like it.
It's not this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no. Yeah. So that's why I want to be as close as possible, because then I know the size is right and the texture's right and the material's right. That's what interests me with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, with my collecting, I've been all over the show, and it's definitely more of a collect. I would collect not spoons, but I would collect all kinds of stuff.
Okay. You're going across 80s because you got Battlestar Galactica, Blake 7.
That was what Star Wars was for me, though. It was Star Wars that got me interested in sci-fi, and I still am.
Yeah,
and interested in movies.
Yeah,
and that. it started me on that journey. So I was just going through movies, and it's interesting you were saying, well, there's no franchise where people know the cast and the crew and all that kind of. But I was a big Miami Vice fan, and
Okay.
I was all over that. People watched a movie last night. Liam Neeson was in it, and then at the end,
Phantom Menace.
no, no, it's set in Northern Ireland, and I was expecting it to be another Tekken, because all of his films are based on
pretty much.
since he made that, every
I
single
will
one of
find
his
you and I'll
films,
kill you, basically. Yeah.
all the same.
He's always on a train.
and it was, but it had slightly different spin on it. It was really good.
Not good.
Can't remember what it's called.
It's that good.
Something like the Land of Saints and Sinners, I think, something like that.
Oh,
Northern Ireland in the 70s.
All right.
But it got right to the end, and then it said produced by Bonnie Timmerman, and I was like, interesting. She did the casting for Miami Vice, so then I was kind of looking that up, and so I've always been into all of that kind of stuff. Who's done what, and then the same with bands. Who's in what band, and then they left that band and joined that band. And
music's one of those things where you can. I mean, talking about collections, I do have collections of bands that that I'm very fond of. All the CDs, all the back, the back catalogue, and some of the bootleg stuff. But as far as kind of memorabilia that I have on display, it's only really been Star Wars.
But then, so then I kind of came back to Star Wars. I mean, I obviously watched the prequels and enjoyed them. I didn't mind them too much. Even at the time, I didn't mind them that much. They didn't
have that connection, though, did they?
No, they weren't
as the original films.
No,
did.
but
I
it
think
was a bit older.
I think it was
I think that's the thing.
bothered.
Yeah.
And the original cast wasn't in them, so your expectations are different. And when the sequels come along and the original cast is in them, and they're all there, and you're like, okay, here we go.
The problem with the prequels was you knew what was going to happen at the end. And I think that takes, a little bit of the fun out of watching those movies, whereas, watching the original trilogy.
And that's the same with any prequel from anything, isn't it?
For sure, yeah.
I mean, I think Hunger Games is struggling a bit with that at the moment.
I think they were pretty dialogue heavy as well. I think young kids going into sort of Phantom Menace. I remember there was even as an adult watching that, there was a 40-minute period where they're talking about trade disputes, and it was just. Yeah, it was hard to get through.
Weird, and then it was very childish in other parts with the Jar Jar and all that kind of stuff.
But there was some cool stuff mixed in. I although it's really choreographed, the Darth Maul fight, I just think he's such a cool character, and he just got killed off. I just couldn't understand it. There was your villain, and I just couldn't understand why he did it. And he then had to sort of bring in different villains for each of the episodes. But it's the strange one of the prequels, because I've got to say I hated it when it came out, when I first watched it.
I didn't really mind it, but I don't think I was as much of a critic as I am now.
What it didn't do.
Oh no, that's right. I wasn't as grumpy and old.
I've got more of appreciation for him now, because
me too.
There is
Oh yeah. Well, Ellis was about 4 or 5 at the time, so taking your son to go and see him.
God, I feel
we
old.
enjoyed it. And then we got little, was it Mega Drives we had back then, or the PlayStation 1, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So then you got the Phantom Menace game.
Pod racer game.
Yeah, so playing that with your son. So I quite enjoyed the whole experience. That's what got him. That's what got a whole new generation into Star Wars, wasn't it? Really.
And that's something that I've probably got to think of as well, because I'm just so entrenched in the original trilogy that Star Wars sort of begins and ends for me there. But there's whole different generations with different takes on it, and it's their Star Wars.
There's books as well. Apparently.
There's books.
I'll read them.
If it's a pop-up book, I'll be all right. But so I've got to, I respect other people that like the prequels, and I'll just sort of stay in my lane. It's like the Disney stuff. I mean, I can drop in and out of that. A lot of it I don't like, but there are some stuff that's been really good. Rogue One, I thought it really does touch on the original feel of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Some fantastic designs in that. Andor, I thought was amazing, just as a standalone. And the Light and Magic was really good, and there are some bits of the sort of Mandalorian and that you can drop in and out of, but Yeah, I can't see me ever pulling away from. It's a shame, really. You want them to. You just hope that they can go past the originals, but there's just something about them. It's gold dust. I don't know whether it was the time that they came out. They're just very, very special, and yeah, that's all I collect.
Yeah.
That's my.
It was perfect timing, wasn't it, with the original trilogy when they came out?
Difficult
Everything
to
just came
resist.
together. It was just the right time for them, and they influenced a generation.
Yeah, we were starved of anything.
Basically.
Anything like
Yeah.
that, wasn't we?
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to watch a Western or
Yeah.
I think
Second World War,
the
maybe.
other thing, that's why they're so special as well, because actually getting any information on the films when they were out, I remember as a kid, there was nothing. You had to wait 3 years, which is like a lifetime between Empire and Jedi, and that's where the toys again feed in, because that's all we had. You had the comic books, but they weren't really tied to the stories at all, and no social media. I remember seeing Luke on a Tauntaun. I think it was in the Sun. I think the film had released in America, and they just showed a few little images in some of the local newspapers. It just got you excited for what is
and
that?
they were all the making of
Yeah.
stuff which you would watch because you just wanted to see clips of the movie,
Absolutely.
because you couldn't
Yeah.
watch them anywhere else.
That's right.
And then you started learning about how they made the film, and Ben Burt with his stick on the wire and stuff, and you're like, oh
That's how they
really?
did the laser
And
blast,
that kind of got me interested in cinema.
I think also yeah.
The behind the scenes, the visual effects.
the whole thing,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole thing.
I think also it was, particularly the first one as well, because it was so close to failure, wasn't it? And it was just, if you see some of the rough cuts, you think, how have even the people that were working on the film, I think I've seen documentaries where they were sort of blown away, saying, who's worked on this? Because they all thought it was a bit of a joke. All the crew are messing around. Even the actors are not really believing what they saw. And I think even they only could use what was actually that they actually filmed on screen. They literally took it right to the stop on the camera, and then that's all they had to work with. I remember the Tusken Raider where they rock him backwards and forwards with a gaffy stick. I thought he actually did that in real life. It was only when I saw the making of it, because that's all that was usable, and they were trying anything to try and make it look, exciting. But yeah, there's a charm to them.
Definitely.
That, our generation,
We've put them on a pedestal, haven't we?
We have.
These particular movies. For good reason, I think. But it's very difficult to kind of capture that magic.
and you guys are just enabling us to bring in these pieces into our collections is just fantastic.
Well, I think there's a lot of enabling going on with the Hyperdrive as well.
There's a lot of show and tell on there. There's a lot of show and tell on there. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a good thing. When it gives you ideas and really gives you a bit of inspiration and where you want to go. And
I mean, certainly the way we've displayed our collections, and we were talking in the car that we've been influenced from the likes of like Dan Shidlick, the way he displays his collection.
Dan's amazing.
Dan's not an influence.
No.
Dan is just like, I'm going to fucking give up now.
Yeah.
I did.
Exactly.
Which when I went to Dan's the first time, I was like,
There's no point. There's no point competing. Yeah.
no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I watched the podcast that you did with Dan, and it was really interesting because he goes, I haven't influenced anybody. He said, I don't know why people are copying me. He is influenced. If he's listening to this, Dan, you have influenced thousands of people. Even me in my small room, I've copied little elements that he's had in his display. And because he builds and finishes his own props as well, his collection is really, really unique. And he's got a collection that he lives with. So he's got it in his living space. And the way it's displayed, because you see some collections where that people hoard stuff, and he's just got it so
Very
beautifully,
tasteful.
really beautifully displayed. So he's a major influence.
Yeah, he's been at it a good few years.
He has, hasn't
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's slowing down a bit now.
It's harder as things start to fill up. You almost feel like you've got everything you need.
It's going to be hard for him to slow down because he does like the.
But he likes to build stuff
the
as well,
sequel.
doesn't he?
He does
Oh,
like
he
the
does.
sequel.
He's doing the. Oh yeah, he's got a sequel display as well, isn't he?
Well, that's it. He's got his main display room. Then he's got his office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he's got his little bunker downstairs.
Yeah.
Where he
And
builds
he's
it all.
got his hidden dungeon where he took you for
Yeah,
about
yeah.
about
You
an
might
hour,
have
didn't
seen me escape. All I had to dress myself as a helmet.
We saw that picture.
Yeah.
We saw that. That is on the Hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Almost had an admin debate whether we should delete it. But, we thought no, that
let
stays.
it on.
Just keep it for a bit longer. I've heard that one before.
But there are so many collectors out there that they've got what they've managed to do with either small display rooms, large spaces. Whether you collect vintage figures, posters, prints, high end stuff. Statues. If you go onto the group, there's something we think for everybody to look at.
Sure, there's loads there.
And we just want it to be fun. I mean, it's life's too short. It's escapism, and we just want it to be we just want it to be fun. And the members have really made it.
I'm doing well, aren't I?
You're doing very
Thank you.
And
well.
I just also want to say the support you guys have given the group as well from from the very beginning with the exclusives we've done with you guys. We just can't thank you enough.
We probably can't really talk about the finer details, but there is another exclusive coming up.
Which is very special. We've seen
There
it.
is. We've seen it.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What's this?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think
Look,
that's.
It's going to be an interesting reveal, I think. I think people are going to be really excited when they see it.
Yeah.
It's,
So I was a bit gutted that Christine wasn't here.
Yeah.
To show him and to work out how that's going to pan out. But yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's keeps us really motivated, doesn't it? Wanting to do more when we've got we've got nice little projects like that.
It's become a bit of a Christmas thing as well, because this will be the third Christmas that we've done something with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's just really because we get messages like in the summer. Oh, are you doing an RS exclusive? Are you doing well? We don't know. They're very busy. It's
Well, with the way we've changed things a little around here has enabled us to get in front on this.
yeah.
So the last exclusive was way behind, and yet the next exclusive we're in front of it already. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good.
behind the scenes, we do pinch ourselves, don't we? Thinking, wow, we've got another exclusive with RS, because we do definitely respect the work that you guys do, and for you guys to find the time to do an exclusive for the group is certainly something that we
It's
we really
difficult
appreciate.
it's very difficult not to fanboy out. Very difficult not to do, especially.
It's a nice group, though, isn't it? We like to.
Yeah.
I'm on there all the time, lurking. I don't post too much because I've not really got any.
You should
You should do.
show your back series helmet.
A lot to put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, can do, Mike. I've got one.
Yeah, I like that.
I've got one there. I might do that. I'll wait till this goes out and then I'll stick it right up on there.
Yeah. But no, yeah, we're certainly really grateful, and and having when we get that exclusive into our collections and we see the RS plaque with the Hyperdrive logo on it, it does mean a lot. And again, just conveying Christian's thanks as well. I know he's really very grateful for the work that you guys do with us.
No, so we appreciate the work he does on the group and you guys.
I mean, it's amazing actually.
There's great stuff to jump on there.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's amazing if you look at a lot of the collections. 80% of them have probably got some sort of RS product on their helmet. So you look through it, because every time we do a themed sort of RS week, it's probably our biggest.
Yeah.
That's the biggest amount of posts we get. It's normally on an RS product.
And it's always great to see how people display them.
Yeah, really differently as well.
What they display them with, what they display them on.
Yeah, I really like that, because that gives me inspiration then for what I'm going to do.
For sure.
And I really struggle because I've just always changed my mind. I never even get it finished. Then I'm like, no, I could do it this way.
But
then you start on that, and then it's just never done.
Absolutely.
It's just never done.
Yeah.
This is the thing as a collector, though, isn't it? It's sort of when does it ever end? And it's because I don't know anybody that said, yeah, I'm happy, I'm stopping, and then they're just content. I'd love to get to the point where I'm I am a bit more content than I was a few years ago. But when you guys are releasing such cool stuff, it's difficult not to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, you guys teased what was coming. You know, there was a few
Yeah.
helmets that that aren't in my collection right now that I would love to have in my collection. And at that point, it was suddenly looking around at the collection room and saying, "Well, where would each of these helmets go?" So you do start to plan the next piece coming in. So
do you start planning a loft conversion so you can fit more in?
I have
or-
thought about a loft conversion, but my wallet thinks it's slightly out of bounds. Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I'm limited to my room. My wife's already said. She said, if you look, whatever goes on that room is fine. But if I see any of this stuff coming out of the room, I'm divorcing you. So it is. Yeah.
Well, my next door neighbour's getting. I hope he's not watching. He's getting a little bit old.
Okay, I see where this is going.
So when we moved in the house, there was two next door neighbours. It's a little row of three, and they're both old, and they both bought the houses pretty much when they were built in the 70s. Anyway, the couple on the other side, they sadly passed away now. But that house didn't really make much good for me because the way the layout is, it needs to be the other side. We could knock through, and it would be amazing.
Brilliant.
It would be absolutely amazing. So
You're just waiting on.
I'm saving.
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'm saving up. I'm saving up, but at the same time, I've got 2 kids, so there's a house each when I die in 10 years? Do we?
10
Very
at
thoughtful of
tops.
you.
10
Tops,
years if we
10 years tops.
if we get that far.
Yeah, yeah.
If we get well.
If you keep putting so much weight on.
David Bowie got to 69, and if all his money could only get him to 69,
Was he 69?
yeah,
Oh, wow, bloody hell.
Paul's favourite number. We kind of touched on this earlier, didn't we? When we mentioned about forums and how Facebook is just a lot easier for people to access.
Yeah, forums.
Access their fix of collecting.
Forums were the original. They were the OG place to go, but they are difficult to navigate. You almost have to know where to look for certain things. They'll have different threads.
It was pretty cool being a member of that, wasn't it? And wearing the T-shirt and
I think back, yeah, knowing
being a snob about it.
knowing that now, yeah, that was all that existed.
Yeah, if only you knew about that forum.
That's right, yeah. But they were difficult to navigate, and Facebook offers people the opportunity to subscribe to many different groups and see everything all in one place.
All kind of different groups. What sort of groups are you in?
Mum's hours.
What kind of groups are you in, Clarky?
What groups?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's one. Ice Bath Curious, isn't it?
Sorry, I thought we were talking about the other one, Paul and Aaron, which is your mum's fan club.
Ice
Fanny Club.
Bath Curious.
There's
That's
loads,
not,
isn't there?
That's not an actual group.
I don't know what they're called, to be fair, just the middle of
I just guessed then, really.
You got to
Right,
elaborate on that.
Oh, this is the age-old problem.
Listen to this.
Bob started laughing at me and Clarky because we've started ice bathing
together.
You see, you must have seen the picture. You shared the picture. Yeah. And well, hang on. Do people laugh at you when you say, "Oh yeah, I collect Star Wars figures"?
Probably, yeah.
Is this the same thing?
But I got to the point.
These are the
because I was laughing at those people. I was like,
These are the cool people
Losers.
that collect Star Wars figures.
And then you get
Star
into
Wars
it, and then you
helmets.
embrace it, and
Yeah.
then you're just a nerd.
And no, we sit in a bath
You're an ice bath nerd.
with a helmet on.
You
Try
don't.
it.
You don't sit in it. That's my thing. You don't get in it.
Here we go.
That's the
Here
thing.
we go. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
use
of course
it.
we don't. Yeah.
So what they've got, right, is a group of people,
Have you heard of?
and they buy this pool thing, this plunge pool, yeah, and they've got it in the garden, or I'm guessing outside. You probably don't want it inside. That would make no sense.
like a hot tub, basically.
Yeah, but it's a cold tub.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
We're
and
allowing
they
him.
buy it.
We're
and then they join
allowing him a platform.
then
to
the
be
joy
a
of
complete.
then now and there's a Facebook group for people that do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, what they do is they have a pool in the back garden, and they fill it up with water, and then every night they look at it.
Have you filled yours up yet? I've not filled mine up yet. It's just like you saying, "Oh yeah, I went. I've got a bad elbow."
And then they come in every
Hang on.
day and they say,
My
"Oh
turn."
yeah, last night it was 3 degrees."
Yeah.
What temperature was it last night? Then?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a bad elbow. Must be all the pints I'm drinking. I drank 5 pints of my make-believe quiz last night. And, 5 pints. No, sucking dick. That's what you guys...
No,
Yeah, you're doing it now.
you've heard of tennis
No.
elbow. This is tenant's elbow.
No, tenant's elbow. No, this is you. That's why you got a bad elbow.
I don't use.
They're heavy
I don't
nowadays.
Use that hand.
Yeah, but
I use this hand for that.
bullshit.
I do. I'm like ambidextrous.
I
Look,
tell you
look,
what.
pocket's it in? Look.
Come to my house. Yeah, then you pass it over.
See?
Then you pass it over.
No, I can't.
Yes, you
I've
do.
got control
Look,
from this hand.
Okay.
Just to clarify as well, Rob's disdain and hatred towards the ice bath.
Yeah.
Because he's not involved.
Right.
It's
No,
not his
got it.
idea.
Got
It's
it.
not
It's
his
not, it's
idea.
because
Very
if
jealous of me. involved.
right, if I had one, I would never use it, and I know that, and I don't want to kid myself.
It's not. Our sex life has got nothing to do with you, and yours hasn't got anything to do with us. But if you can't use it and you don't use it anymore, you're lost.
Not for the lack of trying. I'm just not allowed. I just know I wouldn't
Such
have
a
one,
girl.
and these just talk about
Jealous.
it all the time. And it's like, how exciting can it be to sit in cold water for like
And share
8
on
minutes?
Facebook.
And share it.
So I think he thinks we do it.
So if you are curious, take a look at what's it called?
Paul.
Ice Plunge Curious. What's it called?
That's just one forum, there's hundreds.
There's loads.
There can't be hundreds of them.
No, way
Well,
one
they must-
hundreds of them.
How many members has it got? 3.
29,000 on ice bath cure.
Ice Bath Curious.
Wow.
If you are one of the 29,000 members of Ice Bath Curious, please comment below
There's one called-
because I'm curious.
There's one called Australian.
You're bi-curious.
Australian ice bath meetups. There's like people,
a long way to go.
People who go like chili dipping and stuff like that.
How does an ice bath work in Australia where it's warm?
Oh my god! Like, in our summer. ice is cold in Australia as well.
Yeah. You know your tenant's elbow? It'd probably do it some good getting in an ice bath. But you won't have it.
It probably would.
You might even lose one of your chins.
It probably would, but I'm a realist and I know I wouldn't do it.
You're a realist?
Yeah,
Really?
I wouldn't do it.
I'll have to get him
I'd pull the top off and I'd go.
Only because your nipples are poke out over the side of the ice
Doesn't
bath.
matter. There's probably
All your
there'll be
goblin
a
claw
million,
feet.
Those nipples stick through scout armour.
a million reasons why I wouldn't do it.
I think the only reason Rob or Wob would do it is if one of his brothers got in it. He's got very much like that at the moment. Yeah.
Get his brother involved. And
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Wouldn't do it.
He would. Let's get Roger.
hey,
The interesting brother.
the one we like.
Yeah, it don't like Duncan.
Which one?
Roger.
Roger. Yeah. Release Roger.
Anyway, they're in that group. But
Okay.
coming back to the Facebook thing, it's just accessible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And for us to work with a group where the majority of the members come to us anyway for props, it kind of makes
It's pretty much.
it makes sense.
It's the same community, isn't it? I mean, you can join multiple Star Wars groups, and you'll probably find that
Or
90%
multiple plunge bath
Yeah.
groups,
people are
it
the same
seems.
3 people, right?
Yeah.
So
Come round after this. Afterwards and have a go.
There's 3 groups. They've all got one group each. And they're all members.
Jealous.
But and that is the great thing about Facebook is that the community in itself is probably the same across many groups, and so they all have reasonable access to get the exclusives that we offer. So if you're not part of the Hyperdrive already, please do join,
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
and get on the RS exclusives and all the other exclusives that our group offers.
I think as well sometimes.
Which there are many of.
People are put off a little bit, not the Hyperdrive, particularly the forums, that they think they have to be actively involved, and you don't.
No.
You can be passively involved. You can just absorb everything that everyone else is willing to put out there, and that's one of the great things about it. Like,
Nice to put a little like on everything. Though.
It is very helpful.
Well, everything that you like.
I'm very much a take. Like, I'll go onto the Canon forums and I'm like, I need to do this. Do it, and they tell me, and like, great. But I don't ever feel I've got anything I can offer back to them about it. but it's super useful in that respect. Like I think some people just think you have to be, you know, they think everyone's, what are you saying?
Like you just said, it's a taker.
Oh, I'll say.
What's interesting on the Facebook groups versus the forums is that on Facebook groups, you know how many members are on a group. With forums, it's very difficult to know how many members there are. I've generally found that, for example, on the Hyperdrive, there's about 5,000 members.
Do you know it's nice having real names as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We have a few. We've got one person that's called Salacious Crumb on our group, I think.
Oh, really?
Don't know if it's his real name. I'm not sure if it's his real name.
Might have changed it.
Yeah.
Might have.
But yeah, generally, like 5,000 members on our
Yeah.
group, I think. Certainly not 5,000 people posting. We probably only get, 5 to 10% people regularly posting of that. So yeah, you don't have to be on the group and post, but certainly, yeah, utilize it to your liking and your advantage. It's we want to welcome everybody who's willing to kind of enjoy what we offer.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great community.
I think that's why. That's what it is. Really, it's just trying to build a community, just like-minded people. Like you said, you don't have to be active on it, but it's just a great place to, if you want to see some.
It's for inspiration, isn't it?
Some great collections.
That's the thing I like. And then every now and then, an exclusive will come along, and I'll be like, "Yep, got to get on that."
And they sell out quick.
That. But they're not. But they're not all for me.
Yeah, you can pass them.
There are other ones where it's. Like, I don't know, maybe Mandalorian kind of thing or something. And I appreciate it, and it looks pretty cool, and it looks a really good representation. And if I was into it, that's probably the one to go for because it's on the group. I remember years ago on the forums, and there was just like this kind of unspoken rule that was, if it's available on the forum, then it's good, because you would then have people asking the forum, "I've seen this on eBay, is it any good?" And it was like, if it's not on the forum, probably not very good. And I think that rule really is something that I've always looked at.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? We just want to make sure that we have high quality pieces out there. Everything's pretty much vetted through in terms of who's making those pieces.
But that's a good thing for collectors, because you don't have to do all the legwork into finding out who's doing the best version of this.
Yeah.
So that's great. There's reason alone to be involved in the group. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that we get asked quite a bit now as the group started to grow is the quantity of the run. Sometimes we're dealing with an individual prop maker that can only maybe make in a year maybe sort of 20, 25 pieces of whatever that is, and and that's probably why we've this year particularly we've done sort of an exclusive one a month, so you can pick and choose what you want to go for. We'd love to supply hundreds of them, but we can't, and it is and we understand some collectors can get frustrated with it, but we've got to honour the prop maker as well, because there's only so many you can make, otherwise it doesn't become an exclusive, does it? It just becomes sort of mass produced, and we're trying to give the best back that we can, or Christian is trying to give the best back that he can, and hopefully we're doing that. And 2024 as well, I think there's some exciting stuff coming through for that.
But again, with the signatures as well, something like that, you're going to need a group of people. It's kind of like crowdfunding almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
The signing won't even take place unless there's enough. Enough to warrant it from whoever's doing the signing. So that's when the group works brilliantly.
Yeah, it does. I think initially, when we were first doing the exclusives, I think Christian actually was sort of funding some of the signatures himself just to get it going, which is, that is a lot of money to put in. But the members have just been. The
It
members
can
have
be,
been
and he takes on
fantastic.
a lot of risk as well.
Yeah,
With stuff because
yeah.
you can get stuff going missing in the post and damage.
Has happened.
And it's the it's the
There are
logistics.
all those issues.
Yeah, logistics of stuff
Yeah,
as
and all
well.
the shipping and-
yeah, moving stuff from trying to get the prop and the signature together in the same place is not always easy.
And it's a thankless task as well. It's not
Yeah.
when it goes well, nobody cares.
yeah,
when it goes
yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
then it's a big problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's always the danger, isn't it? When something goes wrong, it can almost impact the the name of the group, and so we have to be very careful. And Christian is generally very careful. Like you say, sometimes he has to fund things just to make sure things are going smoothly before taking money from people. So it's definitely tricky, and I don't think people really see the work that certainly Christian goes through behind the scenes to make these exclusives happen.
I mean, I remember when he sort of messaged me right at the beginning to say, "Oh, look, do you want to come on and be a moderator on the group?" And he said, "I really do want to give something back to the community." And I didn't really understand what he meant by that initially, but with the charity sort of prizes that we offer, and then obviously the exclusives giving back to the members, I think in the short period the group's been going, I think he really has done that. Started to give, he's really given, something special back to the members of the group. It's, long may it continue.
And we're starting to see other groups. offer
Yeah,
exclusives
yeah,
now.
and
There's-
other groups are doing it as well.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure we weren't the first, but it's certainly something that people are picking up on.
yeah, yeah.
And,
And I think there is like I'm seeing like quite a closeness of the groups as well. I'm going to shout out the Rogue One
All right.
boys and girls who are good friends of ours, and they were supporters of the Hyperdrive when we were, I don't know, 250 members. They used to shout us out on their live stream. But it goes back to the camaraderie and the friendships that we've sort of made, and the fact that we're sat here today talking to you guys. It's just been a completely surreal experience for me.
It's nice to be in the same room as you and not just looking at you on the TV.
I know. We are real, Rob. Yeah, we're not
Sounds
holograms.
creepy, doesn't it?
What?
It
Sounds creepy.
Yeah.
the way you said it.
Do you want to whip it up? Comments gone all weird.
Stop messing.
You've been doing something.
Right, guys, that was it. What a great time we've had with Tony and Parminder and Wob. Love you too. Take care. Goodbye.
We're off for a nice bath.